saw race as like the foundation of everything. Culture, civilization, even a person's character. Mixing those up. That was messing with the purity of a superior race in his view. At least that's how he saw it.
And he even uses terms like Latin race or Aryan race as examples of, I guess, what he thought was like bad categorization.
Exactly, because those terms are all about language, not biological kinship. Like, just because you speak Spanish doesn't mean you're suddenly related to, someone from ancient Rome, at least according to Grant.
He loved his categories. He divided Europeans into, let's see, there's Nordic, Alpine, and Mediterranean.
Oh, and you can already guess his favorite.
The Nordics.
Of course. Tall, blonde-haired, blue-eyed. To him, they were the natural leaders, the explorers, the ones who pushed civilization forward.
Alpines, they got to be the sturdy, peaceful type. And Mediterraneans, artistic, but maybe not leadership material in his mind.
It all sounds pretty, well, basic now. But this was serious stuff back then. That's how some people really saw the world.
He basically created like a hierarchy of Europeans. Nordics at the top, obviously.
Oh, absolutely. And that leads right into his biggest worry, the decline of the quote unquote great race, as he called it. Like it was under attack, even from the inside.
Wait, he thought Nordics were in danger, even though they were supposed to be superior.
Exactly. He was really concerned about interbreeding. Remember, racial purity was everything to him. Mixing with other groups, that was like diluting the bloodline, leading to, and I'm using his words here, racial degeneration.
Yikes.
And that wasn't his only fear either. War, modern city life, those were problems too.
He thought those were bad for Nordics.
War, because it killed off the strongest, most vigorous men. Cities, because they favored, well, less robust types, in his view. Almost like modernity itself was the enemy.
So what was his solution? Like, should all the Nordics just move to the countryside and, I don't know, start a commune or something?
Well, there's a bit of that, but it gets more complicated, especially when you get to America. He was really worried about what was happening here.
Because of immigration.
Exactly. All those people coming from Southern and Eastern Europe. He saw that as a direct threat to the Nordic character of the country. And that's where things started to take a darker turn.
You're saying he wanted to control who could come to America, who could have kids?
That's putting it mildly. He started pushing for policies that would discriminate against certain groups, even promoting ideas that would later, well, fuel the eugenics movement.
We're gonna need a whole other deep dive to unpack that one.
Definitely a dark chapter in history.
Yeah.
And we'll get into all that later. So, back to Madison Grant and the passing of the great race. Before we get to his solutions for America, you might be wondering, what was he basing all this on? Like, did he have actual evidence?
Yeah, it's one thing to claim Nordics are, destined to rule the world. But was there any proof?
That's where things get a little, Well, flimsy. He was working with the science of his time, which, let's be honest, hasn't exactly held up.
Early 20th century science? I'm guessing they weren't exactly nuanced about, well, anything.
Not really. Grat was really into physical traits, like obsessed with them. He would look at uh, skeletal remains of ancient Europeans, particularly the ones with long skulls, tall statues,